670 646 and 0201 223 717. Ali Disango Healing Center or see the witch hunter. Right, Ivan, somebody my young call free SHS in Shambles. Afi now you're linking it to Ghana School wholesale issue.
Yeah, Alaska. Education, baby, we are very, very crucial. And so we share countries around the world that at this time, conversation around education has always been moving from one level to another. People are reviewing say curriculum na yet and the emerging needs of the world, no, vis-a-vis say the we are see direction we are say corner. How do we position our educational system in such a way say better me feed into the emerging demands, new technology, new innovations na ebano. So in the educational system about a race. Our country we are trying to position itself say at least obeti me a jina baby. Say we are seeing a ebano on lag behind. Alaska, that is the conversation that is going on. Our countries are making those moves in as a form. And it sounded a bit bizarre at this time and age. Yeah, no, we are still trailing. And then my culture says school now said education system in the city and say, and because of globalization, we are seeing a boom. So Alaska, you might complete school in Ghana. Only obi or tia bontin baby, throw application to the same workplace. Yeah, per juma. Because I know we are seeing about ye. And you know, the competition, and education is very, very key. So whenever education leave you out of the global space in Alaska, you can never compete with people from other countries. And that is why our mind be struggle so by your position educational system a bit me feed into what is happening at the global space, you know. But unfortunately, you know, Alaska, your conversation has always been around the preliminary stage a man for free centuries ago. And we seem to be very much comfortable at this preliminary stage. We seem to be making no progress. Alaska, free SHS policy I buy. My culture say, I'm not sure that there is a single Ghanaian on you happy about saying I introduce you free policy education at Ghana for because Alaska, education is key. Only problem I want to say key, you know, yeah, the padlocks in the BSS, and doing your key no cry very useless. Because people keep changing the padlock. So education is key. You get a key, but you can't use it to open any door. Because I hear the number of people you see in this particular country, maybe school in as a foreigner. Let's assume say education offer the key. Into a beer key, door by no mudi. Door no mudi na man for the traffic muton near man. That is the key door more way bet me a beer. So the incentives no cry in so Alaska. Say yeah, try na see a kasa and semna. And the conversation ordinary will be a best expecting say, yeah, yes, sir, but yeah, even in terms of curriculum near your school, yeah, you bet me a position your school in as a for the yeah, a bit to me, and your certain linkage with your job market and as a for at least or from university bar. Nimdiana when you know, it's easy any part of me transiting from school to the job market at least on the person's own waiting there, baby. But Alaska, the conversation I can't say it is about infrastructure. It is about accommodation. It's not even about curriculum and how I bet me redesign, redefine. No, the basic things are Mr. countries everywhere centuries ago. No, a whole and but the basa and the basa all because of this cheap trivial politics. And no, and I take it center stage in almost everything that we do in this particular country. My culture said. So the economic situation I home higher. I buy me also introduce free SHS and I say free educational policy. Yes, Obia Papa Baso. And Alaska, this is a vision that was envisaged by framers of the 1992 Constitution. Because they tell say, and maybe here looking at the crucial nature of education, you know, you're making sure it's very accessible and free to everybody. It is all for the 1992 Constitution, well enshrined the Constitution. But the constitutional framers were also quite familiar with the economic situation. And they gave a caveat to say, because of a minor home and so at that time, as we progress, as we go on, no, you're making that you put up the necessary structures. Sabaya, the transition, I bet me roll out progressive, effective, no, you bet me achieve. Now, that's sorry, free SHS in the about what
it's a gradual process.
Because that is what you do. But Alaska, yet say some seminar no I could na Akufo-Addo buy our car say oba be free SHS no. Yes, a lot of people bought into that particular idea. Say okay, this is the right time. Now man for free say yeah, but tenase atenase simkonwa. Now you look at the challenges I yenemu ya ba bedru ha say. Now you're coming up with a structure. Say be able to implementation, you know, and creative problem. MIN na albatross. Ebe hang on our necks. No mum. The implementation of the free SHS, you know, rather drive progress in our educational institutional policies, no whatever that we intend to achieve as an outcome. But unfortunately, as patapa as they have always been in Alaska, policy in Yada, Yabetanasi have been a home. Now, any stakeholders, ya engage you be a amount for more education or more nim dear, Sabi, amount for research, I or honing as for Alaska, nothing was considered. The yeti and free SHS no one say about talking her bam. Make us say you run it out as a political reparation package. You promising will say the free SHS baba. Ain't yabana de yaba. Without looking around the challenges and the many where are likely to emerge. Alaska. Obvious. So the free educational policy but people will troop in. So if the numbers are going up, and no new because anything free, Opama men or Kabanku has say no. Se there be any pattern and a quarter bankuno. Now, on my advert say, now you win bankuno yet on T and Jessica. Now, where come do be a faho, Nabajibia. You go and see the number of people who are because of Wakajibia free. Because anything that is free, no, people definitely subscribe. So, as a Obia, Sabi, one in there with the policy banner, you factor all these things and you look at the infrastructure in the existing schools and ask yourself, say, yeah, I didn't free. Definitely the numbers was. There will be a quantum jump in terms of the numbers. So how do we accommodate all these things? But as unreasonable as this government has always been, Alaska, that particular thing was never a priority. Nobody considered it because it's a political reparation package. And yet to biam, then people subscribe to education because it's free. Obi a one year about 5 years ago, quite a great 1 year, you know, Alaska is free. Everybody is coming.
Very well.
So the question is, do you have the basic infrastructure to cater for all these things? The answer is no. And the challenges has been insurmountable. We are just jumping from one trouble to another and then you feeding and then you wait. Such a challenge. So the challenges are so overwhelming that the quality of education, yes, practice and Kebenyano, Alaska, we are not getting it. Ubeko school, your friends saying, ya unkrano, Danny ho, ya boy peso say yanko. A bloom to park is on a chabiana. The hygienic conditions there, and we are talking about them crying their formative years. Never more go through no, and they shape you it determines who they become in the future. And I'm crying them all these challenges. The question is, anything can you translate? And I broad stakeholder engagement. That's right. Yene people in academia. Headmasters and then for people who matter in education. We have stakeholders, a think tank, now among for people who are exposed to education. Among for our more try to do the free SHS elsewhere. Or more example, and as a for Alaska, young trans and share ideas. So after identify the problems, you know, then we come up with a framework. That will be a policy that will be informing how we are going to roll it out. Because I can't say Ghana that your friend saying free education for Obiano is not reasonable. And it can never going to be sustainable because Alaska, so education here. There are a significant segment of society who may not need free SHS.
Exactly.
So as a government, you know, or research and engagement in this discussion now by you know, and the very time say at the early stage, you know, say by program bet me standing, you know, there are certain categories of people we need to exempt them. But maybe by giving them certain incentives, and you identify people who really need a free SHS as time goes on. Who say economically the country is self-sufficient to be able to widen the scope to cover everybody, and then it's free for everybody. But you don't provide free education at a time your economy is teetering on the brink of a possible crash. Because as you speak, say your bontina kokacha or bilateral your friends partners like China, for instance, on for Kanchao. Oko Bretton Woods institution for country now they look at the scorecard and they see say what's the way free education, and they look at the countries around us and some of the Western countries and as a foreign cry some of them are not doing free education. Now one know and now had the quality of education also offer no now you define a year Alaska. Nobody will take you serious.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, no education that is supposed to be free and ensuring say bet me widen the scope about be access education. But that education should be of quality, no? The quality component of our education can no longer be assessed. Enti and cry no be school no yare e no mokotam dia ba fie. And being free cry na said they say education in cry no be pay so no as we go on and dey say yellow green way na se for and cry to miss someone near the school. 1 month near Buffy.
Now the Niamana Samba.
Yeah, the Niamani in Buffy because conditions in Asafo or Alaska is so unbearable because there is no space. Oh, Kwamo Biaba and then the Canada education system will define a contact hours in Asafo. Everything is disorganized. And the essence you provide the quality education, you know. I don't know, or is it about the quantity? Because education isn't about the quantity of individuals we expose to education, but the individuals who are able to access quality education to be able to become better people in the future. Now, that is all that education is about. But this, because of some say arrogance, nessa mina minim kofa na po ne na se for no mbae se bi obi a otu sen oni suban na omu nipa bia wa asase so sansem huna keka na oda kotere di sa ya ministry on fa osanyi energy ministry sa suban na oda better education say niam basa because they seem obi ani wa in charge of this particular country na Alaska
obi ani wa in charge of
na kro we panyi ni da adwan kan na de na muini kro we se kura panyi ni wom Alaska. Let's get serious. Omai no panyi ni ndo obi asoro ya de ope. There is nobody in charge of this country. Obia feel comfortable doing because as a country leader, Alaska, that's around a partner who free password. Say there is somebody in charge in this country.
Oh,
now Alaska, that's around about him. There is nobody in charge. But as a leader, my for that's around password. The first person that must come to their mind, apart from someone bomb should be you. They know that somebody is in charge of this particular country. Oh, mess it up, there are consequences. But leader, no depend on your one. I'm not crying for any share. We are the Alaska. How can people feel that there is a leader in a country? Alaska, everything. Ayabasa, my catchers at this time. No, we should be talking about. I can't ever say. You bet me. I redefine the educational curriculum. Society has a CIE. Do you know that it has been 3 years and running? And crano textbook ukromunibi. Textbook I had a chair and crana no crano and crano nibi. Textbook our teacher for now struggling as to what material I had a chair and crana because obiko printe book yes trumu book no and a Ghana for solity and academ and academ yes that's sexuality education as well yeah printing a good them and I went to me meche and for that reason you know they are not able to come up with anything and I'm crano or more there without any textbook, nothing. Because some of the teachers are our friends, we speak to them, you don't know what model they are going by. And I to an education, you know, a sinitiasi. And the end, so about secondary school. Now one default to a teacher or bachelor na dear. One find a private person or bachelor na dear. Ama what who says when name dear be now do we need to sack Africa free SHS so Alaska. O banner field school abano. Now a trainer or the coin is a trainer or the bar. And the papa be dabi. But certificate you don't use as a yardstick to judge your child. What do you know?
So you use certificate as a yardstick to judge?
Yes, Alaska. Because a political capital. Buying trying say chasing those things to ensure I'm for the pass exams, you know. So the government will do whatever it takes to ensure some kind of pass it. But passing exams is different from say what benefit from education. Oh.
That's right.
Educational transformation, you know, Alaska, it will have impact on you in all aspects of life. Social, political, your friends are religious. So your personality in as for no, I say define or might be a better person. That is the essence of education, not just about certificate. But Nipano free school bar. Now even the moral aspect in the crano, the mom for a banner, and then who say omunya broken moral, your friend say, yeah. How do you say education make an impact on them? Alaska, stakeholder engagement and asset now problem. Say banner. Nanka mom for expert say, young go back to the classroom. na aban yes why are there so the free SHS number free SHS policy will be antan free SHS policy is a vision that was given birth to in our constitution. I hope it's a you never betimi aye but this time why am I fast so the buy no sabi man we na ho because policy is such a huge such a monumental educational policy. Alaska, there is no single blueprint, there is no policy framework. Absolutely nothing. Edifying Ghana ni betimi akofa akan. No one say okay in Ghana in 2020 they wrote out a free SHS policy. This is the policy document that we run through. Now you review because when you have the policy document, that's when you are able to review.
Exactly.
Now what's making it better?
I don't serve as a guide.
So if you are going to review the free SHS today, what policy is going to be the guide? I would review. Absolutely nothing. Because obi na da sore ye e na aba ni tim se he ye ka se ye de beba o chale ya mfa ma mbeba se enti ya mfa mra e na ye tutu ho ya nwene ho. I catch us this is the time and kende amanfo esua robotics somewhere, people engineering are taking it to a different level and the AI crowd they are taking world to a different level. Then I say for Alaska and then you shift your attention to now young crowd also are exposed to some of these innovative things are ever now almost we are competing with people in other world almost who go school. Now Sebi Ghana need go to the internet or apply for a job or Amazon. It doesn't matter where the person is coming from because they have the requisite intelligence, you know, they'll be able to compete. But Alaska system no because you saddle with accommodation in as a form no we are not looking at the curriculum and the net young call go draw baby our schools draw maybe grasshopper.
That's right.
Alaska, when people are learning, getting exposed to computer and as for me who video be on social media quite recently, a teacher how to draw computer
On a blackboard.
On the blackboard and sana and go to the schools. Some schools and their trees they still exist in our current situation. And the education minister will tell you say, oh yeah, build a system then as if one just say I didn't yet you know. Just trying to experiment it. Whether that is the point, Alaska. Because we've not been able to address the basic. I said education must be accessible to all. I will be able to how do we make it possible? Sabaya, obi ote your friends saying north baby, obi ote be baby, obi ote western region no at least and also obi exposed to some of these neman kitingiti aye kan ho asemi. Alaska. Nobody is thinking about it. And we are still saddled with the problem of infrastructure and as for because eduru say yeah school your friends saying placement and as for people always have their way. Yatiana say education minister ono ankasa ne access no obi ko fire na ya de placement man for corruption besi na investigation what asem such a high profile case nka who senka always in there is a constant briefing on the Sabia Ghana for be hu kwan fa so a obetimi nya access to the ministers logins
with impunity.
Exactly, Alaska. So the whole educational system is in a mess. How do we learn from our mistakes and ensure say we engage people with the technical know-how, people with the requisite intelligence on betimi aboyen am from education in such a way say better. Now Alaska, as you speak, there are some of the structures I almost see here that's right. As we continue battling with accommodation problem, no, there are schools and there are trees, and there are schools blocks na Mahama pencil musisi here. So if you appreciate, say indeed there are accommodation challenges as a government, you know, then stop you say sikana say be year 2 good years and hunu the big system then as a form no here there but at this time no infrastructure no let us bring them on stream. Now you say in terms of accommodation there you address that particular challenge suku bi enu about peso. So when we have that particular basis, then we can build upon with our STEM, with review of our curriculum and several other innovative way I also bet me tabi in Alaska because of politics. We are not going to do it. And the young PP so na young for so and I'm saying nipa people who are driving this particular country Alaska. Sometimes I say as I am crying nebu man no say yampanimfo say nipa mwanyina burusuo no but the yampanimfo they are not thinking like mpanimfo panina odwensa akora no you cannot call yourself panini Alaska odwensa akora no you cannot call yourself panini. Let me give you Alaska, let me give you a typical example. Free SHS It's a very nice policy. Makatro, we want everybody to have access to education. So we are government now, indeed, what's in your roll out free education policy? A blossom successful. In your policy estimation, what will be the next line of action you should be thinking about?
That is infrastructure.
Infrastructure at where? At the tertiary level, no?
Sure.
Because your secondary school no, is not the end point. And a secondary, we are tertiary. Young corner or poso. And a young corner was sorry them, and a young corner go with them. Your corner tertiary institution. And admitting, say, the free SHS policy has been successful.
That's right.
The number has increased. People, when they exit, they are definitely going to access tertiary. And besin there with this particular structure frame you buy, what is CSC even tertiary the back of crack and hold baby that.
Not at all.
And in Crana, we are moving no more corners or more couples. I got tertiary. I know we are secondary school now, that is it. And I'm a catcher saying, Nipan minute. Because the actions and your business are policy no one. And Kainano, there is a roadmap. Our government, the timelines, Baba, set free SHS policy, and I'm saying, add up numbers. And never bought peace into no secondary school level. No, we are expanding infrastructure in some of the schools. Say at least number never to me double no. Now enco create accommodation crisis. Again, we are in the next 4 years time. No, Nippon is going to put pressure on the University of Ghana, on Cape Coast, and other several public universities, and even the private universities. So what we are going to do is we are considering adding up some of the universities, about 2 or 3. So yeah, numbers are increasing at the secondary school level. No, we are they also have access to tertiary. That is what you do. But in the whole discussion around the free SHS, I have never heard or seen anywhere anybody raising a point about